Good evening. My name is Jack Hockenberry, and for my final presentation for this class, I decided to choose a advertisement for Tide Pods. So a little bit of history of Tide and Tide Pods before I get into the advertisement itself. So the first laundry tabs were originally introduced back in the 1960s. They came in a granulated form. Procter and Gamble then later decided to launch Saval tablets, which lasted until the 1970s. Saval was one of Procter and Gamble's parent companies back in the day. So back in 2012, Procter and Gamble decided to relaunch the product, this time in a liquid form instead of the granulated form as it was in its earlier state. So here's the advertisement I chose.
Somehow, we always leave packing to the last minute.
Time to break these bad boys out.
No. I have a couple of things to wash.
We got this. Come on. Even on quick cycle, Tide Pods cleans great. 10 times the cleaning power, even in the quick cycle. Did you just get up? It's gotta be Tide.
So a little bit of background on that commercial. The commercial aired in May of this year. The commercial advertises for how easy Tide Pods are to use as well as how quick they work, as you saw in that commercial. The commercial shows a biracial couple packing for a vacation. Later on in the commercial, it shows as the couple is packing their bags, their daughter comes in with a huge basket of laundry. Instead of getting mad, the dad just says, we'll get it done, it'll be okay. So now going into the gender roles of the advertisement itself. The male takes over the laundry, which is formerly a female role. Definitely something I found very interesting and definitely unique to, especially to a bunch, how men are portrayed in advertisements and in media today. The dad is very knowledgeable about the attributes of Tide Pods, which again, very interesting. Dads are not supposed to know about what type of laundry detergent to use or even what to use according to the media. Then the dad questions the son, but keeps his cool. As I stated earlier, the dad's very cool, calm, and collected, doesn't get mad. He knows that his kids need the clothes done before they go on their trip, and he's just very understanding of that they need help. Also, I found, it's very typical, but the dad was a white male. It's typical, of course, as we have seen in our class and we've talked about, it's in a lot of advertisements and in media today. Not a lot of, definitely the whitewash coming with, saying that. But that being said, it was definitely, a little bit of a different role than males usually, even white males play in an advertisement, in my opinion. Now going on to the female role. The mom is only concerned about packing her bag. So, she's letting the dad take over the duty of getting the kids' laundry done, which again, usually mothers usually take on, do for their, do that type of task in their families. The mom has very few words, is only visible in the one short scene, as I saw, which, you might say, oh, that's not very, how is she important then? She's important because she, definitely has some authority, it appeared to me, and that the dad is not, the dad is not afraid to take on some of her tasks so she can keep packing and get her stuff done that she needs to get done. moms usually have to drop everything, and in this case, the dad dropped everything to help out the kids, which was nice to see. The mom has no input on the laundry process, as generally a female task. Again, as I said earlier, usually females are usually the ones doing the laundry in the family, but Ty definitely decided to spin that role and make it a little bit more about how the dad can do the job as well. Then the last thing I noticed is the mother is played by an African American woman, which is definitely, very modern with the times and how our society is starting to be with how people are in acting and everything like that. So now going on to the change of tide. It looked like to me that Procter and Gamble was trying to be racially relevant with their newest commercial. This commercial shows that Tide isn't afraid to challenge what the typical American family should look like, in my opinion. Families come in all shapes and sizes. There's no the cookie cutter image. They're definitely trying to steer away from that, and which was nice to see. It also appears that Tide wants to show that men can do laundry too. In other words, laundry isn't just a woman's game. Men can do it too. So now going on to the racial diversity in this ad. Tide puts a spin on the typical American family, as I stated earlier in the presentation, with having a biracial family be the center, the main characters, the centerpiece of the commercial. They were what it was about. It was about Tide, but the real thing was about how all types of families use Tide, and it's not just for white families. In this class, we definitely learned about how other races are portrayed on TV and in the media, which I found interesting. They definitely Tide was wanted to take that challenge, and they know that they want to be relevant, and they're not afraid to get rid of that cookie cutter image, as we've learned about in this class, and they don't want to whitewash everything, which is nice to see, in my opinion. This commercial does the complete opposite. So it has the woman being one of the main characters, which is not definitely in some advertisements. The mother doesn't get to be the main character. They get to be the supporting character. And also it has the African American woman be the main character, which is nice to see. Again, in the times, it's changing. Women are starting to be this center, of on TV and media, movies, everything like that. Women are definitely starting to have roles just as important to men, or maybe even more important. So then the next thing I saw was that there's two generations in this commercial. This commercial displayed two generations, the parents and the kids. It appeared to me that the kids looked like they were, to be one was 15 or so, and it appeared that the son was probably 13 or older. So again, the kids weren't too old, but they still needed a little bit of help with their laundry. And then it looked like to me that the parents were probably in their early to mid 30s, maybe at worst late 40s, but definitely not, very young, like super young. They looked, middle-aged or a little bit younger to me. So moving forward and beyond with Tide, I think Procter and Gamble is making subtle steps towards a more racial diversity in their advertisements, and maybe with how they market to families and stuff like that. And it was a simple message, but it was memorable. It had a little bit of humor, but it shows that males in the family can do the laundry. They can do the tasks. A woman doesn't have to do everything around the house. Men can help out too, which in today's society, we're starting to see that men are starting to take on some of those roles. It was mainstreamed the idea that men's roles and women's roles can be interchangeable. No one has certain tasks anymore. Anyone can do anything in the family. I know for my family that's definitely true. My parents both take on, they don't have certain. They both take on different types of tasks. Just depends which one gets to it first. The people in the ad were probably average look. They're average looking. No one was sexy or beautiful or physically perfect, but totally realistic. Again, as we have learned in this class, that men have to be chiseled facial features and strong and have to be brave and all that, and women have to have perfect skin and perfect hair. Tide wanted to show what a realistic couple, what a realistic family looks like. In this case, what a realistic biracial family looks like. Again, there's no typical American cookie cutter family, in my opinion. They're showing what's really going on in today's world, which was a nice thing to see, and definitely a good change of what's going on in the world. So to end, I had a couple of discussion questions are, if you were tied, how would you respond to people's negative comments about using a biracial couple in this advertisement? Then my next question would be, who did the laundry at your house when you were growing up? Personally, for me, both of my parents, it was about a 50-50 split. It just, again, depended who got to who wanted to do it first, or who was able to do it then. And then my last question would be, if you were tied, what social issue would you tackle next? Thank you.